Greetings from Frederick, Maryland, and welcome to another episode of Christ, Not Christianity. This episode is titled, Did Christ Fail Ravi Zacharias, or was it the Hydra of Christianity? American writer Jack Lee wrote, Culture is an unforgiving animal that will eat its own if given a chance. Well, the knives are out for the late Ravi Zacharias, and the people pointing fingers to his depravity seem to be completely oblivious to the three fingers pointing back at them. I cannot defend Ravi, nor ignore the unspeakable plight of his many victims. But with my own sinful heart and the Lord's impossible standards, I dare not condemn him. I learned lessons to deepen my faith with his undeniably inspired teaching. I'd rather note that Ravi was given enough time in God's mercy before he died of cancer than speculate if he repented of his sins. However, I will not deny that his consummate sexual addiction and cruel victimization of vulnerable women, especially Mrs. Laurie Ann Thompson, is indefensible. In a previous episode, I observed we Christians come from a long line of liars, fornicators, murderers, you name it. The list could go on and on. Romans 3:23 is clear. All have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Pointing to the hypocrisy in Christendom, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, the German theologian, wrote, the pious fellowship permits no one to be a sinner. So everybody must conceal his sin from himself and from the fellowship. We dare not be sinners. Many Christians are unthinkably horrified when a real sinner is suddenly discovered among the righteous. So we remain alone with our sin, living in lies and hypocrisy. The fact is, we are sinners. End quote. So I'm not going to stop reading Ravi's books any more than I would reject David's Psalms in the Bible after I learned he was a killer. God called David an adulterer and murderer, a man after his own heart. Why did he allow King David into the most exclusive family tree in human history? That's a mystery. The simple fact is, there are no spiritual heroes in the Bible, or even any walking around today. Only depraved sinners saved by grace. I lived in Dubai for nearly 4 decades. I was briefly on RZIM's regional board, and I'd meet Ravi on his visits there. When he published Has Christianity Failed You? I was emphatic that it had, not Christ. His book stated, a Christian is a person who believes what Christianity teaches. And he also wrote, it is Christianity that has kept the Western world intact. Pointing out those issues to Ravi in his book, I disagreed. I affirmed that a Christian is someone who trusts and obeys Christ, not Christianity. And the Western world is not intact, it is a mockery of Christ's teachings. Gandhi's response actually came to mind. When a reporter asked him what he thought of Western civilization, he famously replied, I think it's a good idea. I urged Ravi to stop promoting the very word Christianity. If he replaced the word Christianity with Christ in his books, it would only enhance his message, not diminish it. Did Ravi take my thoughts seriously? I don't know. But he admitted many Americans do not want to be called Christians anymore because the term has lost all meaning in US society. Like many of us, Ravi Zacharias is another notable addition in the Sinners Hall of Fame. Ravi compromised his mission, but is anyone else responsible for his catastrophic failure? Well, besides his organization RZIM, the splendid political business empire called Christianity cannot go scot free. This spectacular man made edifice comprising 30,000 denominations, powerful, proud guardians, and 2.4 billion mostly nominal adherents hooked on consumerism, celebrity, and charisma must be held accountable too. Christianity's ideological and cultural conventions program individuals and congregations away from the cross of Jesus Christ. In the service of this mammon, unwitting theological superstars rise and fall, powerless in trying to serve two masters. In his book, Against Christianity, Peter J. Lightheart, president of Theophilus Institute for Biblical, Liturgical, and Cultural Studies in the US, writes, "The Bible never mentions Christianity. It does not preach Christianity, nor does it encourage us to preach Christianity. Paul did not preach Christianity, nor did any of the other apostles. During centuries, when the church was strong and vibrant, she did not preach Christianity either. Christianity is the heresy of heresies, the underlying cause of the weakness, lethargy, sickness, and failure of the modern church." According to Revival Outside the Walls, rotw.com, in a recent survey of 2,500 churches, 50% said their church was not spiritually vital. 1 in 4 Americans do not go to church, and 48% are done with God. But millions of churchgoers fill the coffers of popular preachers, herded by them like cattle. Their longing for certainty, our longing for certainty in a very uncertain world, is easily exploited. Christianity gives its followers a religious identity at a huge cost. It is not the truth that can set men free. Christianity, it could be argued, is not the faith of our fathers, and it certainly is not the church. At its worst, without obedience to Christ, I would argue that Christianity is a consumer-pleasing business enterprise, a power and number-seeking stronghold. It is an idolatrous, historically flawed political and cultural fabrication posing as a benign substitute. One has to ask the question, is it Christ who does not impact people's lives, or is it the counterfeit that has usurped his sacred name? Did Christianity fail Ravi Zacharias? Can just one paradigm-shifting word distract us from Jesus? It can, because this multi-headed Hydra, strategically named Christianity, is legion, not true religion. Thank you for watching.